Red Dead Redemption 2 Online is only going to get worse before it gets better.
No, that's not true. Red Dead Online is only going to get better because right now there really just isn't much here. I honestly thought that the reason why this online mode was starting in beta was to avoid criticism over the bugginess and more technical issues that plagued Grand Theft Auto Online before, all the way back in its early days of late 2013. But while that certainly is an issue with Red Dead Online, can't stop getting this stupid screen to pop up. Most annoying thing when you're in the middle of a mission, but the problems that face this mode are design choices, balancing, and really the lack of content and incentive to push forward, which makes me wonder, once this online mode exits beta, will players be willing to return and give this a second chance? First impressions matter so much with about anything, and so far this online mode is underwhelming. Yes, again, I get this is a beta, things are supposed to improve, but right now, I've seen a lot of gaming critics and pundits give mixed reviews on this, which also makes me wonder if this online mode is hurting the overall reception of Red Dead Redemption 2 as a whole. As much as Rockstar wants the online to be viewed as something separate, I don't think that's what's happening right now. It also makes me wonder if the online launched, let's say, complete, and the reaction was similar to the love the single player received, would Red Dead Redemption 2 have won Game of the Year at the VGAs? An interesting question that really cannot be answered, as that obviously is not how things turned out. But when Red Dead Online's beta launched, the big issue that created frustration was the economy, and more specifically prices for weapons and how things were set up, which created pay-to-win concerns. As of the last few days, Rockstar delivered a pretty big update that quote-unquote fixed the economy. They took to their newswire stating, "Today we are starting to implement the first set of adjustments to the game, including changes specifically geared towards creating a more balanced, fun, and rewarding overall experience across all modes and missions. These include increasing the cash and gold payments across a number of different activities, including free roam missions, free roam events, replays of a Land of Opportunities missions, Showdown series modes, and more, which based on my time playing, rewards and stranger missions or series matches have brought an increase in gold nuggets, going from about, on average, 2 nuggets per match or event to 8 nuggets. Cash has also been increased, going from about on average $6 to on average somewhere around $15, sometimes more, sometimes less. Rockstar continues stating that they have also reduced the prices of most weapons and the Wheeler, Rawson & Co. catalog and gunsmiths. Something that I am really happy that they did choose to do was give players who bought a weapon previous to the update the difference. But taking a look at weapon prices now, they have been decreased all by about 40%, which is much better in my opinion, and more achievable in a reasonable time frame. Like the Mauser pistol that everybody is going for is no longer $1,000, it's now just $600. But to the last change, it said that they have balanced the value of select pelts, skins, and fish, as well as horse reviver and pamphlets, which fishing and hunting previously was a major money-making method, but now many of the harder to find pelts and fish have been decreased by about 40%, which somewhat eliminates this method. Overall, this update was mostly good, making the economy much more balanced, but there are still issues here. Like for example, as far as I've seen, baked beans is still worth more than a gold ring, prices for cosmetic things are still absurd, from changing your character's hair or teeth at the barber shop, overall prices for better horses like the Arabian, campsite upgrades like changing a flag color or changing Cripps' outfit, or even getting just one weapon completely gold will cost you 30 gold bars, which based on my estimations, that's about 62 hours of grinding. But again, overall the changes are good, the economy is not broken anymore, but there definitely are flaws that I have doubts to if they'll be fixed or changed at all. So I want to move on from the economy now, as that's just one aspect of this experience, and I think right now what hurts Red Dead Online is the lack of content and incentives. Sure, you can gain thousands of dollars, but for what purpose? There is, in my opinion, very little to do. The series' modes are very limited with just a few available to do, and they all are on the same maps. It gets repetitive. The stranger missions can be fun at first, meeting up with characters from the single player, but they seem to be mostly fetch quests going point A to B and delivering mail or a package. It gets repetitive. There is the short story missions, but most players will finish this in just the first few hours and move on. The most enjoyable part of Red Dead Online right now is playing with friends and just messing around in this huge world, which isn't a feature, as I've said with Fallout 76 recently. What's needed next is is for sure more game modes and new maps. The fact that Armadillo is not a map for any of these modes right now is really disappointing and kind of criminal. Now, we know that likely properties and heists are coming soon, but I really do wonder if Rockstar is having trouble figuring out how to allow train, stagecoach, or store robberies, because it feels strange that was not available as a feature day one, but I imagine it's due to balancing issues. The same could be said with jewelry and other items that you can loot off dead bodies. I really think that Rockstar is having trouble with balancing that aspect. As a package right now though, Red Dead Online is quite repetitive in many areas, and I have to say I'm surprised at how bored I've become. Certainly this has the potential to be something fun, but there just is no incentive to push forward. The biggest long-term goal is to get the Mauser pistol, although a handgun that shoots a little faster really makes me wonder, is the grind to get it worth the time and effort? Besides the economy and incentives, there's other content that definitely should be featured in the future, like private or passive servers, to at least give players an option to avoid being griefed, and the ability to choose which PvP modes we want to play is something that I am really hopeful to see. When Red Dead Online was being hyped up, we heard Imran Sarwar, Rockstar's director of design, state, even though Red Dead Redemption 2 and Red Dead Online share the same gameplay mechanics and geography, we see them essentially as separate products that will grow and evolve independently of each other, which as much as they may see it that way, many are piecing the two together. As I said at the start, first impressions matter, and this is not Grand Theft Auto Online where it's guaranteed millions will return and keep playing. Red Dead Online needs its own identity. It cannot be Grand Theft Auto Online but in the Wild West, because right now it kind of feels that way. I think the point I'm trying to make is I hope there are some unique things coming in the future, like maybe a Mexico expansion, or further story content, or businesses we can buy. Forbes even presented an interesting idea, which is making Red Dead Online non-canon moving forward and start incorporating steampunk elements, which I know some may like or hate that idea, but it is something that could bring some really interesting content. When the beta was announced, Rockstar said that with the gameplay of Red Dead Redemption 2 as its foundation, Red Dead Online transforms the vast and deeply detailed landscapes, cities, towns, and habitats of Red Dead Redemption 2 into a new living online world ready to be shared by multiple players, which from my time with this, the only thing new about this world is the amount of locations that are now empty or stripped of detail. But yeah, again, hopefully Rockstar has things mapped out for the future. I really hope there are some significant content pieces coming, because as it stands, the online mode is hurting Red Dead Redemption 2, and as things move forward, I can only hope this does not become another Grand Theft Auto Online-like experience, but there still are many question marks to what type of content will be drip-fed, if any at all. Grand Theft Auto Online had different cars every week, but with Red Dead Online, I don't think a new horse or weapon will draw people back in. Grand Theft Auto Online has had a more general audience, and as we push into 2019, further away from Red Dead Redemption 2's release, people will move on, and I think what's going to be left behind is a more mature audience, which I don't know how many times I'll keep saying this, but what Red Dead Redemption 2 really will need sometime next year is a single-player DLC expansion that can greatly impact Red Dead Online as well. Undead Nightmare was key for the 2010 installment of Red Dead Redemption, benefiting both online and story mode fans. Going with another supernatural DLC, maybe this time Cowboys vs. Aliens style, could be something truly bizarre but unique, and most importantly fun, which is what matters most. I just hope that looking back at Red Dead Redemption 2 in say 5 years, it is not all about the online. That's what hurt the Grand Theft Auto franchise for many, and with Rockstar's cancellation of Grand Theft Auto 5's single-player DLC to focus more on the online, I think many fans of Rockstar are hopeful that they don't just focus post-launch for Red Dead Redemption 2 on online content. Time will certainly tell, and maybe it's all dependent on popularity. If somebody at Rockstar is watching, my biggest piece of feedback is, remember why 17 million copies were sold in 8 days. Certainly wasn't for the online. In conclusion, Red Dead Online is off to a slow start, with early impressions being mixed. As easy as it is to say this is just a beta, many are using the flaws of the online to criticize and hurt the reputation of Red Dead Redemption 2 as a whole. Anyway, things can only get better, but it will be interesting to see how much Rockstar can improve and develop this online mode, and whether or not the large audience that's here right now will be on board for the content that eventually comes. Red Dead Online has potential, but even with its first big update, which tries balancing the economy, it's made many happy but also made some upset, as certain features like fishing have been adjusted and nerfed. Rockstar Games has clearly been listening to community feedback, and moving forward I hope that they really listen to all criticisms and recommendations to make Red Dead Online better for the future. But what do you guys think of Red Dead Online so far? Do you see yourself playing this for years to come or not? Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. But thank you for watching. Make sure to leave a like if you did enjoy this video or found any informative value, and consider subscribing for much more Red Dead Redemption 2 content to come. And remember, Outlaws for life.